Okay, so the next topic I want to talk about are lists and maps in Groovy. So Groovy adds a lot of helpful syntax. So for example, creating an empty list is as simple as open bracket, close bracket. To create a map, it's the same thing but with the colon. And you can provide values to initialize lists and maps. So for example, I'm creating a list 1, 2, 3. That's going to be any values. And for maps that are string keyed, you can simply just use the words with no quotes around them, and that will become the keys for your initial values in your map, which can be useful in a lot of ways. Because it's so convenient, actually, you end up using it more so, I think, in Groovy. So here we have 3 planes, for example. But if you want to override that behavior, you can simply by surrounding your variables with parentheses. So here you're actually using the object named var1. So you can access maps the same way if you have string keys, just using the string notation. Or you can use the bracket notation here, providing an actual string. And that's useful if you're not using strings as well. And this also works for modifying. So it's really straightforward that way. So let's open up some code and take a look at some examples. So here I'm creating the map, and I'm actually running this code here, and I can print out how many cars. So cars equals 1, boats equals 2, and then I also set the value and print that out. So cars equals 42. The next topic I'd like to touch on for a minute here are loops in Groovy. So for the most part, it's the same as in Java, except that you don't have a do loop. Not that you would be using that anyways. So there are several ways that you can iterate. Of course, you can use the old Java style that you probably are familiar with. Or you can also use, I is less than 10. You can also use a range. So here it's saying for I, using the in keyword, for I in 0 through less than 10. And that is printing out 0 through 10. So the less than means don't include the end number. If you don't use that, then you would include 10 in the result. So here I'm doing 0 through 9, and if I remove this, and I'll run it again, you'll see it goes 0 through 10. Now, for string arrays, for example, or arrays or lists or anything, you can still use the old method, or you can use the new, or the Groovy style. We're defining this for string here, str, in the array, and then print out that string. You could also use the each operator, which is added by Groovy, to just about everything, so that you can pass in a closure to do something to each element of the array or the list or whatever. So this is using closures, which we'll talk more about later. So for the next topic, we're going to talk about the switch statement in Groovy. So switches in Groovy can take in not only strings and everything else in Java can do, but also lists and ranges and class types. So here I've got list 4, 5, 6. So anything that is within that list will be matched. The range, anything from 12 to 30, will be matched by that case. Here I've got integer and number. And then I've got a regular expression as well. So this here is a closure, which takes in a single argument, x. And then I'm calling the switch expression on that. And here I'm calling that, printing out the result for several different values. So first one is foo, and then I have 4, so I get 4, 5, or 6 as a result. And then 24, and that's within the range. And then finally it has integer, and then just 2 numbers, and finally I matched the regular expression. So the syntax here for the regular expression is a tilde, and then followed by the expression within 2 forward slashes. So this could be any regular expression within here. For example, you can use the backslash and then a keyword. So in this case, that matches any word character. So I still am matching the regular expression. So that's about enough about that. The next topic is the Groovy GDK adds a lot of different things. The Groovy GDK adds methods to classes, existing classes in Java, and as well as adding its own classes, such as ranges. So for collections, it adds a lot of helpful methods like sort, find all, collect, inject. And for files, it adds to string class. It adds like a text property to files and bytes and some other things that just make it really easy. So for collections, it adds sort and find all. We're going to talk about that first. So you can look at this later. All of this code is up on GitHub. And I'll add a link in the description. So here I have a dragon class with a name, a constructor, toString method, and a compare_to method because it implements comparable. So also if you have any questions, just add them to this video and I'll get back to you. So I'm creating a list of dragons, I'm sorting them, and then I'm printing them all out. So, and this works because, of course, it implements comparable. So I've got Deerhurst, Lambton, Norbert, Smog. Print it out in order. The next thing I do is I use the any method to check if any name starts with S. So this just goes through the whole list, and if just one element returns true for this expression, then the any method returns true. So here I'm printing out S found. So let's just add some space around this to make it more obvious. So yeah, S found. The next thing I do is I call the collect method, which is similar to map methods you find in other languages. It goes through every element in the list and collects a new list, or really any sort of collection, based on the expression in there. So there I was calling it the uppercase method. Then I do find all, which is similar to the filter method. Then it goes through and finds everything in the collection that matches the given expression, and then returns a new collection with those elements. So here I find 3 dragons that are returned from that. Inject is similar to reduce, and then it takes a value and loops through the whole collection, adding up some sort of sum or total. Here I'm just adding all the names together into one string. So it's not something you would probably do. That's just to give an example of the kinds of things that you can do. So here's that list again. You can freeze this frame and look at it later if you want, because I don't have time to go through all of them. Finally, we're going to talk about the spread operator. The spread operator allows you to very easily get at some property of the objects in your list. So here, for example, I'm printing out all the names of the dragons. You can achieve the same thing using the collect method, but it would be more verbose. So, for example, let me try that out. So you can collect every element, get its name, and then print out that. But using the spread operator achieves the same thing with a lot less typing. I think that's it for today. Thanks for watching. There should be a lot more content in the workshop I'm doing, but thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thanks.